Your eyes. They've seen things. Who are you?
So my first question is this, where did Apostle come from?
Okay, so I always wanted to do something a bit different. I think I achieved that. That was very different from like the Raid films. There was a certain level of expectation that I was going to be just like the action guy.
Right.
And when I made Safe Haven with Timo Chayanto, it was sort of an opportunity to kind of like flex a different muscle. And when we did that, even though it was a short film, I got really kind of interested in this idea of pursuing horror. And I think we kind of played with that in the Raid films anyway. There were certain horror elements.
Right.
I always described the Raid 1 as a survival horror with action beats.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it was an opportunity to kind of try something new, and then being back in UK, having relocated back to Wales, it was an opportunity for me to kind of like take a look at the films that would have inspired that, and looking at films like, you know, the British folk horror genre.
Right.
Was a real sort of like leaping off point then to be able to go off and create this.
How many big studio movies did you turn down to do this movie?
There's been some interest here and there, but one of the problems is that I want to make the films that I want to make, and I want to make the films that I would want to watch.
Right.
And so really when it came to this, it was a personal creative impulse to go off and create this film. It wasn't something that would be, and the best thing about doing this with someone like Netflix was that they came on board as such an early part in the development of the film, but fully backing the vision of what we were doing.
Right.
And so I had all of the same kind of like creative freedoms and flexibilities that I had when I did the Raid films out in Indonesia. Differences in Indonesia, me and my wife owned the company. so I had total control back then for obvious reasons. But
Right.
what I wasn't expecting was that same level of creative freedom to kind of explore and try things, no matter how absurd and no matter how, you know, possibly sort of like transgressive some of those things might have been. I was given that freedom to explore that.
How long did it take to kind of shape this movie and kind of finesse it?
It was pretty breakneck at the start, the development of it. Me and Aram Tsakian from XYZ Films, we kind of worked on an Evernote thing where we were just bouncing images back and forth and then finding the textures, finding the tones. And then we spent a real long time then in pre-production then with my production designer, Tom Pierce, figuring out how exactly this commune would be built, how it would work, what the ecosystem was like. And then further then with the actors then, when they kind of came on board as well, was working with them to really focus in on the character dynamics and sort of what the sort of hierarchy of the village was like. And so, yeah, all of that was just a process of about like sort of 6 or 7 months or something.
Well, what were some of your inspirations? Like, obviously Wicker Man, I think.
Yeah,
right.
Wicker Man is definitely.
What else was in that stew?
I mean, a lot of those British folk horror films, so The Wicker Man and Witchfinder General as well. And then, more importantly, probably Ken Russell's The Devils, which I had not seen until 2016 when we were just about to start working on this. And was a massive sort of inspiration then, because I was just blown away by that film. I had never seen it before, didn't know what to expect. And then it just came out of nowhere.